From Davos to Davos, not with Charles this time, but with Emily in the press review. She's starting off with coverage of the World Economic Forum. What do you got for us?
Well, obviously, it's the big news story on almost every front page. Let's start with Libération here today. They have this quite striking front page. It says, duel at Davos. The paper says the summit has become the theatre of a clash between Donald Trump and Macron. They have this photo of the French president with his glasses looking a bit Tom Cruise-like. He's been wearing those because of an eye problem he's had in the last few days. And this image, of course, comes back quite a lot in the coverage. We can have a look at The Guardian here today. Also another Top Gun type front page. The paper says that Macron leads the resistance against Trump's Greenland project. Still in the UK, the Financial Times also covering this on their front page with another photo of Macron here. It says the rift between Trump and Europe is deepening, and the paper adds that Republicans might also be starting to push back on Trump's Greenland craze.
Yeah, what about the Swiss press, Emily? How are they covering Trump's arrival?
Well, the Swiss have deployed their cartoonists on most of their front pages. We can have a look at the Tagesanzeiger. Here they have this cartoon. The headline reads, Europe struggles for strength, Switzerland remains vague. The cartoon here shows Switzerland laying out the red carpet for Trump over the bodies down here of European leaders. And this little text box here says, what did you want to say, Miss van der Leyen? And she answers back, together we are stronger. The Le Temps is also headlining here with one of their cartoons by Chapat. He's looking at Trump using the Beast, his armoured car, as a snowplow, pushing the conference into quite a bit of chaos. In the UK, The Times is also got their cartoonists on the case here with a slightly different perspective. The president being carried in by a MAGA crowd on an imperial palanquin. And finally, The Telegraph also has this cartoon here. It says that Trump is threatening to crash into Davos like a dangerous avalanche.
Scathing cartoons there. Let's move away from Davos. Jerusalem now. Israel cracking down on the United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees.
Yeah, Israel taking its crackdown to a whole new level. Let's have a look at the New York Times. They're covering this story here. Israel has started bulldozing the compound of the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, also known as UNRWA. This article says that the demolition of their offices is just the latest escalation from the Israeli government, which has also passed legislation criminalizing UNRWA activity. Sky News is also covering this story here. It quotes the UN, which accuses Israel of an unprecedented attack. A former UNRWA chief of staff has said that, quote, this is another message to the world that Israel is the only country that can demolish international law and get away with it. Let's have a look at Modern Diplomacy magazine. It's based in Bulgaria. Here it takes a look at the legal implications of the move. It says that it deepens a dispute about UN property in Israeli-occupied territory and says that it tests the limits of protection for humanitarian agencies.
Let's take a look at the latest football news now. Our paper's still discussing, as we mentioned a little bit earlier on, the aftermath of the African Cup of Nations final.
Yes, the Moroccan press still debating what on earth went on in that final. We can have a look at Le Matin online here, Moroccan paper. The final saw VAR drama, Senegal walking off the pitch in protest for a penalty, and then a terrible penalty by Brahim Diaz. Le Matin says that Senegal's AFCON win was tarnished by their behaviour and looks at how Senegal might be sanctioned for their actions. Burkina Faso is also talking about this in Wakat Sira here. They have this interesting article which reports that the Congolese referee during that final might also be in a spot of trouble. The article says that the Moroccan government has even reportedly lodged a complaint against him specifically. Finally, in the US, The Athletic also covering the final. It looks at what the impact will be for Morocco and the 2030 World Cup, which is, of course, in part hosted by Morocco. It says that although this final will damage the reputation of this edition of AFCON, it will also help identify security concerns that need to be implemented in time for the 2030 World Cup.
Finally, something a bit different. New York Times taking a closer look at the special wings of birds.
Yeah, this is actually, it's about the swans in particular and their wings of love, you could say. Let's have a look at the New York Times here today. I was quite drawn by this headline: "Swan seeks mate, must like cold lake and small flock." This is the story that an Illinois park department sent out a dating profile for two of their male birds who tragically lost their mates. We can see them here, two black swans. Now the problem is black swans are monogamous and mate for life, so the two swans were incredibly depressed when their mates passed away. Now we can see quite how depressed they were in this photo here. This black swan reportedly used to stare into his reflection on the side of a vending machine because he thought that it was his lost mate. They even had to put up a sign that said, "He's going to be okay." Now, this is a good news story. They have actually found two mates thanks to those dating profiles, and two new lady swans have been found. The couples are apparently following each other around the park, waddling after each other, and it seems to be love at first quack.
Well, that's a very nice, happy story, very nicely put as well. At least they hadn't fallen in love with the Mars bar that was in the vending machine. That would not have been good, would it?
Be unfortunate.
Yeah, exactly. Emily with the papers on France 24. A lot more coming up after the break. Do stay with us.